Welcome to part 5 of the human scavenger build. This is starting on Bethesda Susa, and we're going to be playing through to about the Tomb of the Eaters, so all the quests in between. If you've been liking the series, go ahead and give me a subscribe. That'd really help me out and keep me going with challenge runs like this and guides and so on and so forth. And let me know if this has encouraged you to play Truekin at all, or Wayfaring maybe. Yeah, but getting into this, we've got our flamethrower up and running, and facing off against the Kriegsmensch is no big deal. About 3 hits apiece on average. And once you hit them once, they're on fire, they start patting themselves out, and they do nothing else until they just die. Absolutely fantastic run we have going here. Never mind that we don't have any cybernetics, mutations, followers, or anything of that, any other gimmicky nature. Um, we've just got, you know, good to average loot off of vendors with no shenanigans, nothing special. Got our force bracelet on, even while confused. We can handle ourselves because flamethrower is such a nice AoE damage option. This whole time we've taken almost no damage. There, we got him. Sitting at level 19 and a half, roughly. Good level to enter Bethesda Susa. Somewhere between like 18 and 22, I guess. We also happen to have a tunnel borer, spiral borer, sorry. And so that's going to allow us to skip a lot of Bethesda Susa. And so we could have done it at an even lower level if we wanted. That is, of course, my preferred method of doing this quest. If you saw my guide on the 3 best ways to do Bethesda Susa, that was my number 1 top option. The number 2 option was use flamethrower and just kill everything. So we've got that too. We've got some good YouTuber luck getting just everything that we need on every run without really trying for it, just by chance. But as I've said in previous videos, getting flamethrower and spiral borers are, it's pretty easy, really. They're mid-tier items. They're, on low-level loot tables. So you can get them from regular vendors. You can find them laying around. It's usually not too difficult. And I think it's just a matter of knowing what you're going for in this game, oftentimes, and then getting to it is much easier if you know what you're aiming for. You can find the tinkering recipes come up if you're just keeping an eye out as you go through vendors. Once in a while, something good pops up and you just grab it. And then, you're like your mid game solved, or maybe your late game is solved. And it could be, at level 5 or whatever, you pick something like that up. So just keep your eye open, know what you're looking for. That's half the challenge with a game like this. So here we go with our spiral borer. I always put it down here in this left-hand corner so we get into this chamber, which skips that first troll boss, which can one-shot us. And then we're just diving. If there's any particularly dangerous stairwells, we go ahead and clear those. Whenever I see odd trinkets that are batteries, I'm going to grab them because they could be really high-level batteries. We already have the nuclear cell identified. So this is either fidget cell or probably not antimatter cell, realistically. Obviously, that's what you want, but it's not going to be that in Bethesda Susa. So I think fidget cell is actually the only thing that we haven't identified. So we'll see what that is. Just diving, diving, diving. Cybernetics ward here is worth looting, especially if you're using cybernetics. There's 4 guaranteed cybernetics racks. For us, it's just money. There's also credit wedges on that floor. So we'll go back up at some point and grab those. That's a little awkward. I let this acid slime get right up next to me. But if you do want to take your time, even if you have a spiral borer and loot Bethesda Susa, it's a great place to get lots of medical loot. You see a medical chest over there, all kinds of injectors and healing items, and these cloning robots here can sometimes drop the cloning draft. So there's lots of good loot to be had here. That's for sure. If you're feeling like you need it. Good XP too. All the enemies are worth several hundred XP, and that includes the little well, if I see one, I'll point one out, but they're the little guys that puff gas. They look like little spiky balls. They puff different kinds of gases. They're worth several hundred apiece too. And like that, we just killed a whole cluster of Craig's Mensch for 500 apiece or something. It's pretty great XP. Gotta watch out for these little slugs. I think they do poison damage, which can really build up against us. That's what Slog's Inoculus is good for, if you still had that on hand. There's also oftentimes Beetles in this area. I don't know that any are guaranteed, but it's certainly at least a higher probability of finding them. Flamethrower is empty. Not a message you want to read when you're deep in a dungeon. So, switching to old school guns. Masterwork scoped carbine from the Golgotha quest is what we're using now. And that's what most new players are probably going to be using when they come down here, if they didn't follow my guide in particular. But that is a guaranteed item that they can have, and it's probably the best one most players have found if they don't really know what they're doing, I guess. And it's fine. It can certainly do it. You know, I'm not stoked to be using that. Could be using the Electro Bow too, of course, for one extra PV. Both of those are good options. I think I'm carrying Electro Bow number 5 or 6 on me that I've found so far this game. Kind of crazy. So that extra PV, of course, is always going to be better against higher armored enemies. The thing about um, the carbine is that it's a lot cheaper to use. And given that it's masterwork, it can get an extra, I think that gives it an extra penetration when it triggers. So it's almost as good as the Electro Bow in some sense. It also shoots more shots. So more chances of crit and things like that. These slugs are very annoying. They just keep hatching until you kill all the mother slugs as well. And so, yeah, I'm ill. They made me ill, which reduces healing. And there's poison. So I think that's from their melee. Correct me if I'm wrong. They're called ick slugs after all, so that they make you sick and poison makes complete sense. So we're just diving now and heading down into the quest zone here at the bottom of Bethesda Susa called Temple of the Rock. And of course, we've made sure to get all of our reputation that we required for the mechamists, so 250. If it's any less than that, they will attack you on sight. And of course, we have cold resistance so that we don't freeze solid down here. It is very cold. The base 15 cold resist that you get with our background is sufficient to keep you from freezing. If you're any other background, then you'll need to find about 15 cold resist to make sure you don't freeze, or carry blaze injectors and use them constantly, which is a massive annoyance. So I suggest just getting cold resistance. You can also carry asphalt with you and drink that if you do get frozen, and I guess it gives you a few turns of immunity to being frozen. Not exactly clear on that. Haven't used that technique myself. Nice. Pick up a legendary Hatter secret. Some of the best kinds of secrets you can get. And there's our quest done. Now we'll just look for the legendary guy. They should be around here somewhere. There he is. Come back here, you. Do the water ritual with me. There we go. Disliked by Ezra. Hated by Yerd Freehold. That's a bummer. Probably not going to do it with him. That's all right. You don't have to. The main goal with the Mechamist at this point now is to learn Proselytize, which you can do back at the 6-day stilt from that unique. But of course, that's not a skill we're going to be using on this character because we're doing no followers. So just make sure if you are trying to learn that, don't learn it from this guy while you're down here if your reputation is right around 250, because you'll learn it, you'll lose that rep, and then everybody will immediately go hostile on you. So you don't want that. We'll just see if we can piece out of here. There we go. And that's Bethesda Susa done. That takes us up to level 21. So we'll just auto explore, make sure we've got all the loot from this area. Yeah, I was thinking for some reason that that door had just unlocked over there to the library and that there might be something good in there. But we'll accept the next quest, which is to secure the spindle. And while we're checking loot here, the secure the spindle quest is quite an easy one, I guess, if you know that it's coming ahead of time and can be preparing throughout the game. I.e., if you've beaten the game before, you know this is coming. So uh, basically, if you get favored reputation with your starting village and you get it with the bears, which is basically inevitable, and you get it with the mechamists to finish Bethesda Susa, you always start with favored reputation with dogs. And so that's 4. And 4 is what you need for this next quest. Um, so basically, the only one you have to work for, in some sense, is your starting village, which should be relatively easy if you complete their quests. Alternatively, you can go for the wardens, which are quite easy as well, because the wardens are guaranteed spawns in every village. And there's a guaranteed number of villages, plenty enough to do the water ritual with. And so essentially, getting favored with them is also guaranteed. So you have 5 that are relatively easy in case your starting village is problematic and you have to write that one off. So I've seen talk about some people struggling a little bit with the almond porch, or I guess having a debate maybe about what's the best thing to do with the almond porch quest. Ooh, there's electromagnetically shielded. We like to have that for our force bracelet in particular, but also so that your weapons don't get shut down. So we'll pick that up. Um, but yeah, back to Almond Porch. I think that the optimal way to solve the quest is by being favored by 4 different groups and then betraying one of them. And, some people debate getting lots of favor with the consortium of FIDA, which is the way to bypass needing to have 4 different groups that you're favored with. Just a side note there, taking int up to 26, agility and strength are both at 25. So we've got tons of stats and we've got tons of skill points. But yeah, getting favored by 4 different groups is much easier, as I've just laid out, than is getting up to, I think it's 600 with the consortium to bypass that quest. Plus, you don't get anything for completing the quest any other way other than betraying one of your factions that likes you. And you always get a guaranteed unique item by betraying one of the groups. And so the group I suggest you betray are dogs, because there are no dogs in the game to speak of that are dangerous. And they don't really care if, you betray them. Dogs are your best friends, right? And then you can pick one of the other groups to give you a special item. And so I suggest always taking that. So that's what we're going to do. Just getting everything sorted out here, getting the flamethrower on. We're going to need to pick up some oil at some point as well. Plenty of batteries, which are good value to weight and great for long quests like Tomb of the Eaters if you're using guns. You go through a lot of batteries that way. There's shard mail. That'd be a nice pickup. Quite expensive, though. Just recharging my visage visor so I can see what those uh, tinkering recipes and such were. That 5-bit is good for modding. I'll need some 5s to mod my force bracelet at the very least. So that's like what, 9 books, 9 or 10 books? And it got me, what do you call that? A sixth or a seventh of a level, maybe? So it takes a lot of books at this point to keep leveling up further. But it can work. And the truth is that you don't need a whole lot of levels from here, especially on a Truekin, because Truekin have so many skill points and such high stats already that if you were to compare a level 21 Truekin with a level 21 mutant, you know, your average mutant, you're going to see the HP is probably higher on the Truekin, and obviously the stats are higher. You're going to have more skills. So I don't know what this would be equivalent to. Like a level 21 Truekin equivalent to a level 25 mutant or better, probably, just in terms of raw stats. If anybody has a better sense of that than me, let me know down in the comments. But I know we skipped over a bunch of oil pools here on some of the lower levels because we had filled up our um, carry weight capacity before we got down to level 5. But we went ahead and finished the not quest. What is it? It's just going down to level 5 to get the guaranteed loot down there, and skipped some of these pools. There is where that was last time. So at this point, we're kind of just stocking up for late game. And, we got a good stock of batteries for our battery requiring items. Now we'll get a good stock of ammo for our flamethrower, and we'll just stick to the flamethrower at this point, probably. Um, it's just such a better weapon for everything going forward. That said, in the asphalt mines, using the flamethrower when with all these flame pigs as well, catches everything on fire. It makes makes the square you're standing on quite hot, and so you're quite likely to catch on fire quite easily. So just be ready for that. We do have some heat resistance, so hopefully you do too if you're doing this strategy. So many fire snouts. It's a bit ironic that they are not immune to fire or even meaningfully resistant to it. There's a couple pools of oil. Nice. Salty oil, that won't do. Neither will brackish. Do our best with our flamethrower not to hit our ape friends here. They don't like that very much. Just cruising though. Lots of defenses, lots of health, 11 AV. Could stand to be a little higher if I'm honest, but it's pretty expensive to get like Crysteel armor at this point. So the fact that we have that much armor and still have positive DV is surprising, though 2 DV isn't doing much for us really. If you're using DV, you want to be up in the teens probably at least. So much smoke on the screen, I had to use the alternate view to see where my enemies were. The flamethrower has few downsides, but they are annoying ones. Between filling the screen with smoke and having the chance to instant kill yourself if you're, standing in water or near water and you create enough steam to vaporize yourself. I've done that before. So it does have some dangers to it. Not enough to not make it the best weapon in the game, probably, though. How we doing? Our weight's up at 311 out of 375. Must be getting close to full. That was another 11 pounds that we picked up. Head back to Yard, see if anybody has anything worth buying. Airfoil. I think I already got this, didn't I? And haven't been using it. Let's see, lots of Crysteel stuff. Anti-gravity boots. Ooh, it's already they're woolly. Might have a look at that. Masterwork spacer pistol for only 3,300 drams. What a deal. Probably get rid of all this stuff now. Seems to think that chest is important. I think that chest came from a historic site. Maybe I was gonna make a hideout, like a stash location, basically, in Great Gate with it, but didn't get around to doing it. Might as well get rid of the weight. 2100. Certainly don't need the wings if we have anti-grav boots. This is a strict upgrade. All this food stuff you pick up is worth a little something, and it weighs nothing, so well worth collecting. I think most of it came from like harvestry, probably, or just finding it laying around in kitchens. Don't need blaze injectors. I don't like Hulk honey injectors. Not going to use love injectors anymore either. Oh yeah, I need about 200 more. Could get rid of that Nanon disc that we never used. Still not quite enough. Always got oil. What's one water skin of oil, anyway? Woolly anti-grav boots. Acquired. Replacing just basic chain boots. That's a massive upgrade there. Now have perfect flight. The only time you ever spend much battery on it is when you're using it overworld, and even then, it's really efficient. Still have the ulnar stimulators giving us stat boosts. Could find a better shield, still using a stat. Just showing no cybernetics still, in case you were wondering. Um, Still using a steel shield, I was saying. Would be nice to get a better shield online at some point. And if this is the first time that you saw that screen, I don't actually have a mutation. It's coming off that sword that I got from the historic site. It's just level 1 temporal fugue, which is buffed to level 2 via my ego. Ooh, high energy thermocast. Too bad I just sold all my stuff. There's no way, right? I can't afford that. Bit of a bummer. I like having that. Even just for the defenses, it's well worth it. All right, head over to the Almond Porch quest. How can I appease you? Bring your friends, he says. Sure, go ahead. Convene the council. Whoops. Forgot to actually finish that reputation I was talking about. So, got to do a little work here. I'm not actually favored by dogs in this one. Must have killed something they liked, or the opposite. I can. No, if I pop that on, that's just Mechamus, right? So, okay. We can go pick up wardens and trees, probably. or Ezra itself. Admired by Ezra, hated by Mumpengo. That's okay. Favored by wardens, favored by Ezra. There's two more I picked up, just like that. So Ezra, Mechamists, and Wardens. So Joppa needs 40 rep. Fungi need a bit of rep. Just go ahead and learn those extra grenade recipes and see if we can do something for Joppa. Water bonded with the Warden. I think I didn't water bond with the Mayor early on because of the Pudis Templar and Hindra Bela thing. That's the difference. That's what happened. So now we're favored by them. See, that made me hated by Bela, which is not good if you want to get the guaranteed force bracelet, which is why I didn't take this. All right, now we've got it for sure. 3 days. So generally speaking, I just go down here and wait for 3 days, make a campfire, cook up something that makes me use water less often, and then just wait on the turn clock. You can also quite easily just travel around. If you got something else to do, go to a nearby historic site or run down to your freehold or whatever you want to do. I'm going to cook some vine wafer and reduce my thirst. Oh, that's pretty good. Chance to get bonus to max HP for 1 hour. But yeah, it's not better than the other recipes I have. So then we'll go wait. Take some batteries out of things, maybe, because it's going to just burn through batteries as we stand there waiting. I didn't really pick up many mods throughout that. I did get electromagnetically shielded though. So think about putting that on later. This takes 4 and 5 bits. The 4 bits, you can get them from carbines and the electro bows. So I definitely had those at one point, but I probably sold them for the boots. So I could probably get rid of my stilt ground recoiler if I wanted, though I like having that. We'll go ahead and wait here. Here, the Visage just run out of power. So yeah, on this character, we're probably going to go for the lesser victory. I think I mentioned it in the last video. So once we finish this quest, we'll jump back to Gritgate, finish the quest that comes next, and then run over to the Fungal Forest for that final quest, and then come back for the Tomb of the Eaters. So from here to there, we'll probably get a few more levels, somewhere around level 23 or 24 maybe, to do Tomb of the Eaters. That's the next really challenging thing, I guess is what I'm saying. And we have a bunch of batteries, we have a nuclear cell, so feeling good about that. I'm worried about powering the force bracelet as much as possible in particular. Might have to pick up some more oil depending on how these next few quests go. Probably will. Probably don't have enough right now. And then we'll definitely do another lap of the vendors and see if there's any good tinkering recipes or mods or things like that. We did actually lose one AV by switching to the hover boots from the chain boots. So now we're down at 10, but we're up to 6 DV. Probably we want to pick up another item that gives us some more AV, but we'll see how we go. So yeah, we're going to betray one faction, and we don't have the dogs this time, so we've got to pick somebody we want to betray. And of these four, probably the safest bet is going to be Joppa. And then which one of these you pick is kind of random unless you do a bunch of extra work to figure out which group gives what, but it's randomized each game and it's not worth finding out in my opinion. Just grab one, see if it's good. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. So it's a piece of jewelry. Go ahead and turn on the visage, see what it is. Fiendish Ghost. It is a force bracelet with cold resist and one ego. So it's a strict upgrade to what we have. Not great. Not really what I was hoping for, but can't complain about a strict upgrade. It's got a cool name, Fiendish Ghost. So back to Gritgate now. Turn that quest in. I'd like to do one last check here of all the vendors, see if anybody's got anything good. Overloaded isn't bad. Gas tumbler, if we were doing the regular win, the full length win. It's just really good against the Gersh if you're using spacer pistols and flamethrower, but we won't need that for the lesser win. And meh. So I like to check them because sometimes they don't survive this next quest. So I'm sure you don't need a spoiler alert here if you're watching this far into my video, but what comes next changes the game potentially. So here's your warning. We are about to get invaded. I like to activate Rodanis, Rodanis Y, and overclock the Chromelings just to have a bunch of minion help. Luckily, wow, look at that. They're spawning right outside the front gate. Both spawns. There's always two. So we can activate these turrets and have quite a lot of firepower going directly forward out of Grit Gate and away from our allies, which is critical, especially since I'm using a flamethrower. So that is going to be the game plan. Focus fire right on those drops. Stand far enough back because when they come in, it causes an EMP to go off. And so you don't want your electrical devices getting shut down. So I'm modding at least my force bracelet with electromagnetically shielding. Do I have enough for this as well? I do. So I've got my weapon and my defenses shielded. So that's critical. If you're doing this for the first time and you stand a little close, might get hit with that EMP and all of a sudden find yourself in a really bad situation. Go freeze grenade for even more lockdown. Obviously that doesn't pair very well with my flamethrower, but here they come. All right, Templars busting in. Of course, the robot is right in my way. So pop that shield. I've got my temporal fugue guy up front throwing grenades. Definitely that robot's going to die. You saw how wide that EMP was. Probably it definitely covered me. So go ahead and keep my shield charged up. Did the robot just vaporize, I think? Oh no, he's standing there on fire. Possibly from our thermal grenade from the temporal fugue. Really hard to tell what's going on in there. Stepping back a little bit so I'm not caught up in the mess. Looks like stun gas. Got a freeze grenade went off on the back line, so that's good. There, Rhodonis Y just vaporized. May have been my fault? Yes, I think so. I got XP for it. So that's a bit unfortunate. It'll happen with flamethrower. So now we're free to just blast, though. Looks like all the bears are standing back, I think. So we'll just keep shooting. Unclear how many are hiding outside of my line of sight right now. Probably some. Certainly some. I don't think we've killed the unique yet, surely. That was close. Make sure to keep this charged up. Maybe radio powered will help it stay online longer. Trying to go around that stasis field. That one that's gone past me and north is a phylactery ghost, so he can't take damage. You've got to kill one of the blue summoner dudes to despawn him. So obviously that guy's hiding somewhere back in the back line. I don't think I've angered any of my allies yet, which is good considering that I vaporized Rhodonus. You got to be careful about that, is angering the bears while you're trying to defend them. Not difficult to do with an AoE weapon. Even like multiple ranged weapons, just guns. You'll get a stray bullet hitting one of them once in a while. They're a bit foolish and like to run right in sometimes. This time, so far, so good. Everybody's staying back. This is about as easy as it gets, I think. Oh, my shielding wore off. Just put the nuclear cell in and not worry about it anymore. Still expecting that the unique is down there hiding somewhere. But I only see one enemy on screen beside the ghost. Yeah, they didn't get past me. So they're all hiding down there somewhere. Which is unfortunate because I don't want to walk through that stun gas and all that stuff. It's also very hot in there. There's the phylactery agent. So if I can kill him, his ghost will go away. The blue guy down at the bottom. Wraiths, they're called. Got him. Now I've got chromelings and bears running down there over into the corner. So obviously, unfortunately, our unique is down there. And all the bears are going to go crowd around it right now. Which is just fantastic. Exactly what we hope was going to happen, obviously. What's this guy to steal? Didn't immediately see anything special about him. Glitter dust. Yeah, it didn't matter. Catch him on fire. Don't run in there, bears. I'm trying to burn him away. I should have blocked their pathing with my force shield. And instead, I let them run in there and get in melee range with him because they're fools. Who programmed this AI? In what world is that a good idea? He's about half health, on fire, and luckily surrounded by chromelings, not bears. So, as long as I can keep him on fire, maybe, and keep him off the bears, nobody will die. And he's not on fire anymore. So, we'll see if we can get in there, maybe. He did a stasis grenade on himself, it looks like. So, we're going to wait that out. Who's caught? One of the bears got caught in it. Okay, the chromelings are out, looks like. And there he's out. Hortensia. Not terrible if she dies. Of course, you don't want to lose any of them if you can help it. Go, chromelings, go! They're not doing a ton of damage. A little bit. There goes one chromeling. So I'll step in its place. And now maybe I can push people away. Oh, I stepped back too far. Well, that was definitely a misplay. I just killed Spartifical myself. Jeez. I should have stood in melee range with him, or pretty close to it, and flamethrowered him. I might have killed some of the uh, chromelings, but at least I wouldn't have killed Spartifical, or whatever his name is. That's a bummer. He's got good gear, good loot. So, anyway, quest succeeded. Quest succeeded failingly? I don't know. Not great. You can do better, I'm sure. Check out our loot here. At least something worth disassembling. Those ontological anchors have 6 bits in them, so that's good. If we wanted a bunch of handrails, that's the best way to get the tinkering supplies for them. Yeah, Shem 1 died, Rhodanus, and the dude we killed. Considering the easy spawn, that could have went better, actually. But that's what playing with flamethrower is like. Sometimes your friends get burned. A bunch of water there. Oh, yeah, okay. That's old Sparty's water store. At least you get the loot that he had on him. Somehow I don't have Fiendish Ghost on now. Interesting. Gun rack, 20 pounds. Nice finds there if you're looking for cybernetics. Hyper Tractor is good for 4, 5, 6 bits. Eigen rifles for 5. They're also worth a lot of money. But if you need the bits for tinkering like I do, then you can be selective about what you want to disassemble. Probably what we want to do though is save some of that loot and exchange it for Chris steel armor or something like that. A thermo cask maybe. Anyway, we'll go up here and talk to Bartham the Old. Do a water ritual, see if he has anything good to teach us. Metered? Meh. I mean, it's okay. I'm going to take it anyway because it gives you another one. Hand vacuum, blood gradient, hand vacuum. Meh. Get the next quest. It says, who is Pax Clank? Deliver Q Girl's schematics to Pax Clank. So Q Girl did not die. We'll go find her. Rough gemstone. Might as well take that. We can always shine it up in yard freehold. Get rid of the gun rack in exchange. Save some weight. Don't forget your blueprints. I have gone all the way to the next quest zone without fulfilling that part of the quest and had to go back and then back again, so that's unfortunate. Oh, that's right. I switched those out because I couldn't mod the other one with electromagnetic shielding. So we'll check our vendors again. Could do Chris Steele. Was really hoping that thermocast was still there. Go for poison tolerance, I guess. We're not going to be using pistols, so it's not worth getting more of that. We're no longer using rifles. So we've pretty well got all the skills we need. Definitely. I mean, everything now is beyond icing on the cake. I mean, we'll probably not see any more poison the whole game, so you might get it in the fungal woods, but it's never an issue worth thinking about. So, well, what are you gonna do? Tinkers, not Tinkers. Truekin get so many skill points. Yeah, so we ended up with handrail, flamethrower. We got geomagnetic disc, which is a pretty good thrown item. Go ahead and craft one of those, maybe. They're kind of a pain sometimes. They have a tendency to break midair and then get lost. But electromagnetic shielding helps. Airfoil is good. There's some other good mods you can put on them. So at least if we get EMP'd after I throw it, I won't lose it. Don't know if we'll use it or not. It's okay. It's a good trash mob cleaner. It can kill a bunch of little stuff really fast. Better than the flamethrower in a sense. Cheaper, certainly. So nice to have on hand for that. Since we betrayed Joppa, I don't want to accidentally teleport there and instantly get in a fight with the warden. That wouldn't be any good. So we'll go ahead and shine up the rough gemstones we picked up. Just the one, I guess, from Q Girl. And see if we can't get something good for it. Maybe Tilly has something nice. Zetachrome Loon, only 10,000 drams. Yeah, okay. There's no way. That's what I want, though, obviously. It would be hard pressed to buy that in a normal game from a vendor without, vendor shenanigans. So might as well pick up salve injectors when you see them. We used two, I think, during the Great Gate fight. So Not a bad idea to have some extra herb as well. Any kind of instant healing is always obviously very useful. Still carrying around some heavy guns. I'd like, and all those stun rods too. I was hoping to find something good to buy that was within my price range. This guy pretty much only has cybernetics, guaranteed credit wedges, stuff we don't need. Stuff we're not going to use, that is. Could buy the magnetic bottle and get some bits. I mean, just to drop some weight, really. But you get a 4-bit and a 6-bit out of it for the price of stun rods. May as well, right? Oh, it's also got a nuclear cell in it. That's why I'm buying this. I didn't realize that at first. But yeah, you get the 6-bit and the 4-bit from the bottle, and the nuclear cell is well worth buying. Really, they're pretty cheap for how much charge they give. You can get all the way through Tomb of the Eaters on one nuclear cell, I think, usually on your force bracelet. Probably need more than one each if you're running like 4 handrails. I think probably they'll burn through more than one each. Surely, right? I don't know. Most recent time I did it, I used a bunch of chem cells, and man, that took a bunch. I forget what I calculated out to, like 70 or 90 or something like that equivalent. A bunch. That's got a good nuclear cell in it. Boots have barely used any charge. Well, I haven't been flying with them. Now we will. And we'll pop over here to the fungal woods. I just can't pass up a layer, can I? Might as well get the XP. 3,300 XP. That's worth, what, 15 books probably? So with fungal woods, I like to go right in the middle bottom here. And then I know that, usually at least, you just have to go a few screens up and then the quest will trigger. So we're still flying with perfect flight here. Trying to avoid getting spores on us from the um, multicolored mushroom. See if we can find our way through. Those are the mushrooms in question, those purple and blue ones you want to stay away from. Or anything that looks that shape. Those red ones are the same, they'll puff on you too. Now is not the time to be getting a fungal infection. Just looking around for flattened remains. And they're not called that, but it's a corpse. A little bit of lore for you. There's a nice story about the corpse that you end up finding here. If you read the book that's on the corpse, you find out that this creature came from a distant land trying to escape the Seekers of the Sightless Eye. It was a member of the Seekers of the Sightless Eye trying to escape, basically, and find a way out. And ended up in the fungal forest, ate some of the eater's flesh mushroom, thinking that it would hold the answer. and ends up exploding his own mind in his drunken stupor. So we're going to eat that same mushroom and have a good time with it, I guess, as you do. But if you want a good story, that's a particularly good story, and you're guaranteed to find that. Um, I think it's Parchment Bound in Kelp, I think is the name of the book, and you can read that. It's a pretty good one. So, foolishly, I used my flight and I went to the overworld map and immediately got lost again. So, don't do that. So, now we're not exactly sure what tile we're in. I hadn't found it where I was hoping to find it. So, we're kind of stumbling around lost here. The scary thing, of course, in this section of the game is stuff like that sign up there looks like something is shooting acid around, and we know it's probably a sludge of some kind. These, like, the primordial ooze creates sludges out of liquids that it comes in contact with, and the more liquids it gets in contact with, the stronger the enemy gets. And so here's some lava. That spot right there is going to make lava based enemies that shoot lava at you. So that's no good. We'll go away from there. Flight helps with some of them. God forbid you get one with neutron flux, because those guys will one shot you, smack you with a weight of 1,000 suns or whatever it says. There he is. Mono sludge. Soupy, salty mono sludge. Throwing salt at me or something. Not particularly scary yet. Really good XP if you're looking to XP farm. Pretty much the riskiest way I can think of doing it, but come here and kill these mushrooms and kill those sludges, and you'll level up quite quickly. Still just wandering around aimlessly. This is probably the worst trip here that I've had, and certainly in recent memory. I feel like I usually find this very easily by just going north from that middle section. I think I screwed up, and now we're lost, which is kind of the point of this area, I guess. Do highly recommend flight in this area. Perfect flight from these boots is huge because most of the damage these sledges do is melee damage, even if they shoot stuff at you. So do consider flying if you can. Here's the edge of the jungle. So we can go back to the map, get our bearings, head back in, get spored on. Luckily, we don't have itchy skin yet, so that's good. That's what you got to keep an eye out for when you get spores on you. And of course, eat the porridge at Gritgate if you do get itchy skin. So the quest just triggered. Must be around here somewhere. Spores again, covered in spores. Hopefully our toughness is just high enough to fight that off. And again, and again. Wow. Just hiding around all the different mushroom corners, and I'm just walking into them aimlessly. I'm like on a mission to find the eater's flesh. There it is. I'd like to find that corpse too, of course. It's got to be right in here somewhere. There it is. Scroll bound by kelp, by a strand of kelp. Credits wedges, eater's flesh, of course. So now you just follow the yellow brick road. Don't know why that dead guy over there didn't just do that and find Plax Clank's house. He was haunted by his demons, I suppose. Yeah, so this has been pretty smooth overall. Mostly accrediting that to flight. What do we have here? Bears. Unique bear. Cool. Go make friends. Teach me secrets? Nah, just ruins. Nothing good, unfortunately. Prayer rods. Well, that was boring, but it could have been good. Plasma grenades. Um, 2 bits. Probably don't need any of that. Random drams of honey. Might as well cook with it just in case the spores kick in at some point. I got the wrong recipe for it. That's all right. There's Pax Clank's house. So we'll just chip in through the wall here. I'm here to collect a debt. Why you call me Pickles? All right, go ahead and puff on me. What to pick? Always the conundrum. Usually I go with a hand. It takes off the glove and that hand, but at least you can use the other hand for my shield. Fungal forest. He'll always teach you that, I think, in case you want those. Hopefully we get some good quests. Bear jerky, electric snail, deep in the earth, red rock, mollusks, merchant guild. Okay, we can do these pretty quick actually. Bear jerky I have in my inventory. Merchant's guild is any of the layers of merchants that we have. I think we can tinker up a spiral borer to get down to level 20. Oh, I missed some loot back here, looks like. The phylacteries are always nice because they disassemble into 6 bits, and they're worth a little something as well. And don't forget that you can butcher the Templars for their cybernetics if you're passing through over the corpses of your enemies. Might as well. Loved by Barthumites, and we're level 23. So we pick up the last quest. But of course, we want to get rid of the Pax Clank before we head up there. So we have all of our item slots. So, ooh, Quantum Mote from the quest. Might as well throw that on. We do have a bear jerky. That's convenient. Just go down here and do that. Oh, hello, random robots. Puff spores, there is one. Need 3 more. Just trying to run from these robots, but that electrical damage, I'm not resistant to it. That actually hurt a little bit. Head to Red Rocks, Puff there. Right, I do have a spiral borer already open. Stairway down, 20 floors, so we can just dive down here. Interesting. Unique dervishes. Being cloned by the cloneling. Fantastic. Nothing to see here, just cruising on. Down we go to level 20. 17, 18. Ooh, a moldering corpse. That could be an antimatter cell. Let's go get it. Combustion cell. It's never what you want. There's a spiral borer laying there. I was just talking about needing one of those. Now I don't need it anymore, but might as well grab it. Except for the fact that it weighs, what, 20 or 40 pounds? Still carrying around all those guns, too, from the Gritgate invasion. Can certainly disassemble that for 5 and 6 bits. That does the trick. And level 20. Do the thing, put on a force bracelet, and port out of there. So that's 3 out of 4. Merchant's Guild's probably the easiest of those. So head back to Gritgate. Might as well check these vendors while I'm here again. Nothing there. Still got a lot of weight I want to get off my person in the form of loot. But we'll just escape out of here. And where? Where are hostiles? Whatever, just fly. See if Sheba has something of interest. Always got to remember to power up the visage again. Little clunky. Sniper rifle, bunch of books, obviously. Could always exchange books. Look at that XP. 13,500. Very nice. Those are both guaranteed drops. Those books. So, okay, we have all these merchants. Hatter, gunsmith, scribe. Not going there. That's a little far away. Come on, give me something good. Just something worth buying. There's flashbang grenade again. Doesn't seem like we're going to be needing that this game. We'll just drop that on the floor here. At least we don't have to carry it around. It'll stay here if we ever need it again. Probably won't. Let's see if we can get to this merchant. Easy enough with wayfaring. $1,400 times 2 experience for finding this place. A little bit of free money. Disliked by Bartholomewites, doesn't matter. I'm loved by them or something. Nothing particularly good. There's a snail shell. Isn't that what I had to puff on? But I can puff on this guy and he won't mind, right? Yeah. All good. Done with the Pax Clank quest. So we can put our gloves back on. And our weapon. Nuclear cell is used. Might as well flip that over to the full one. What can we do here? Nothing. Still don't have a ton of mods. Certainly not for armor. So yeah, guess that basically sums it up for this video. We are now ready to go into the Tomb of the Eaters and finish up this challenge run. So to date, we have found it quite easy actually, without any mutations, followers, cybernetics, anything like that. And we haven't needed to abuse any vendors or even move any vendors around. You know, a lot of times I'll do a love injector and move low tier vendors to higher tier areas. Haven't needed to do anything like that to find what we need. Just keeping an eye out and kind of knowing what to go for and only going for mid tier gear, which is plenty good enough to clear the game. That's all it took so far. So hopefully we can get through Tomb of the Eaters just fine. Go ahead and go down here and tattoo this on ourselves. Succumb to Glotrat. And that gave us our level 24. So that's perfect. Perfect level for the tomb. Go ahead and put that on my face, as you do. And then remember the sequence. Always a challenge. I always feel like I'm going to get this wrong and then end up just scribbling something on my face. But got it the first try. It's not always the case, I promise you. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that. Here's a quick rundown of our stats. 27 int. Still got skill points to spend. I still need anything. I've got more than enough at this point. Could get more blocking. We didn't even find a great shield. I mean, we've got a steel shield. We did get up to AV 11, looks like. Yeah, weathered. Less effect from temperature changes and heating effects. Since we're using flamethrower, that makes sense. Anyway, thanks for watching part 5. And in the next one, I'll see you for Tomb of the Eaters, which will be the final hurdle in our quest to complete the Human Scavenger Challenge. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.